Hello friends, welcome back to Frontier Patriot. I'm Ron Rayfield. This is my beautiful wife / co-host, Justine Rayfield. Now before we go any further, if you guys want to see Justine make this lovely meal, please go over to our main channel. That's Early American. Over there we cook it.
And here we eat it.
And here we eat it, and that's what we're about to do, which we kind of already pour into it, as you can tell.
This chicken did not come to us looking like this. He's missing half of his body.
Show him the hole. The black hole.
Oh, that's not the flattering angle. We'll flip that around.
Everything's okay. Everything's not okay. Everything's okay. Even though he's missing the head on the front.
Right. So we're going to get into it. We have roast chicken, which we cooked in our reflector oven, and potatoes. We have apple pie, and we had split pea soup, but we already ate that.
Yes, we did.
So let's say grace and we'll get into it.
Go ahead, Justine.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for giving us the means to work on our house. Thank you for our health. Please continue to bless us and everyone watching today. Thank you for this food. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, Justine mentioned the split pea soup. We filmed all day long. And so we're stopping in the middle here to eat our lunch with you guys. But if you watch the video on Early American, you'll see us having dinner, which is split pea soup.
Yep, it was good too.
And we ate all that, so now we're going to eat more.
Okay, let's try this chickie. Now, I have been wanting and dreaming about owning my own reflector oven for at least the last 5 years of my life. And finally, my dream has come true. And it's everything I hoped it would be.
They're a little pricey, but they are very nice. Now, we have a whole barrage of them, if you will. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 different types of reflectors ovens.
We'll talk about it.
I'm excited to talk about it.
We got ours for a very good price, though. It was under $200. It was like $150 or something.
Something like that. Made in America.
Yeah, made in America. I got it from DixieTinWorks.com. They're made to order. It took about a month for me to get it. I'm obsessed with it. Maybe men dream about getting a brand new car. And
new musket.
Yeah, new musket. And a girl dreams about getting a new doll, or I don't even know. But I dream about getting a reflector oven. It's been something I've been wanting for years and years and years. My own reflector oven. And finally I have one. And oh my gosh, guys, it cooks food so good you would not believe it.
It does what it says it does in the name, reflector.
Yeah.
So it reflects the heat all the way around it. And you can also rotisserie it too. You can rotate it.
Oh, this is so good.
But you know my favorite part about it is a little trap door, so you can look at it while it's cooking without removing it from the heat.
Exactly. You can take a peek at it without removing it from the heat.
Yes.
But because if you were looking, you ain't cooking.
This chicken gets a 10, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I haven't even tried the potatoes until now.
I'm missing one already. I ate it in one bite earlier.
Oh my goodness, guys. I wish you could try this.
You need some more juice.
The seasoning is insanely easy.
Sometimes less is more.
It's the quality of the ingredients and how you cook it. I just used salt, pepper, and then a plethora of herbs. I used thyme, sage, and rosemary. And that's it. I didn't do no fancy pants. Onion powder, garlic powder,
Paprika.
chili, paprika, like whatever, whatever.
Didn't even use any lemon this time.
No, but for some reason it tastes like lemon, and I can't figure out why. But oh my gosh, this is a solid 10 because of how it was cooked. It took us an hour and a half, I think, to cook this chicken. Yes, be careful about the bones, Ron. Don't be shy about politely spitting them out.
It is so good. This is probably one of the best chickens I ever had.
What? Wow. I'd say it's the best because it's the first thing I've ever made in that reflector oven.
It won't be the last.
No way.
Yum.
That oven is about to get used and abused by me for years and years. Now, they've been making reflector ovens like the one we used for hundreds of years.
At least since the 1600s. Maybe even a little before then. We have some paintings here reflector ovens. Some are larger, some are smaller, some are even made out of copper. I'm pretty sure
brass.
or
They're
brass.
Mhm.
And it's pretty neat.
Yeah, ours is made out of tin. So by the time we get to the early 1800s, everyone knew what a reflector oven was. If you were a part of the middling class, which is equal sort of to the modern middle class, you could have afforded one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this means I'm moving on up in the world because I finally was able to afford a legit reflector oven. I have a couple more down here because there's a whole lot of different styles to these.
Depends on what you're cooking.
Exactly.
They come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take a step away from my food, unfortunately, for a minute to show you.
Don't go away too long. I'll eat that potato.
Oh no! Please don't! No! Okay, so you saw the reflector oven, but have you seen this? Maybe at first it looks to be the same, but this is actually a biscuit roaster. I think they call it, or biscuit toaster, biscuit cooker. It has a shelf. Again, it's totally made out of tin. It has a shelf in it that comes off, so it's not just for biscuits, of course. That's just what they call it. You can put, I don't want to flash it towards you because I'm going to blind you. It's shiny and new.
When tin is brand new, it's very reflective and shiny, like chrome.
It is.
So don't be saying, well, they didn't have stainless steel. They didn't have. It's not stainless steel and it's not aluminum. It's
People
tin.
always think it's aluminum.
Real tin. This ain't galvanized stuff from the farm store either. It's the real deal.
Yeah. So you can put cookies, baked cookies on here, biscuits, just any kind of small baked good you can put on here. You use it in the exact same way as we made the chicken. You just put it in front of the fire and bake it, I don't know, 20 minutes, and then, is it done? It'd be done. So I'm excited to break that in and try it out. I love that the tray comes out.
What else you got there?
Now, you mentioned how, when tin is brand new, it is very, very shiny. It looks like aluminum, which confuses a lot of people. And I get comments, people saying, I like this video, but you used aluminum. I want some scrap and you don't know what it's tin! It's tin! I get this comment every day. But this is what old oxidized tin looks like. Completely different.
This is an original piece.
This is an original piece. This has had quite a lot of time to oxidize. This is late 18th century, early 19th century. So this could be from the 1790s. This could be from 1820. It's impossible to know exactly. This is a bird roaster.
Or a pigeon roaster.
Yeah, this is an original piece. And I haven't had the pleasure of using it yet. But oh my goodness, I cannot wait. So it would have probably been for wild game birds, like little pigeons. And these very sharp.
They're sharp.
They're still sharp 200 plus years later. 1, 2, 3. 3 pigeons you could put on there. There's a drip pan built into it to catch the drippings.
Put your potatoes in there.
Yeah, and also just not to make a nasty mess on your hearth floor with it smoking everywhere. It's very, very light. But this is what tin turns into after about 20 years.
Now, the gentleman who made the 2 ovens that we're talking about today, mainly, they also make a reproduction of this too.
They do. It looks just like it. When I saw it, I said, wait a minute, I have the original of that.
Don't need to buy that one then.
Right. It has a nice handle on the back so you can take it out of the fire, but
very nice.
Very, very nice piece. And then the final reflector oven that we have, it's a modern one.
And you guys have seen this one before.
This is an apple roaster.
And when she says modern, she means reproduction.
This is a reproduction. Yeah, so you can see the 2 colors here. This is what brand new tin looks like. And then when it oxidizes, after about 20, 30 years, it turns really dark like this. But it's still tin. And so it's what the name is. It's an apple roaster because they had so many different types of these reflector ovens. You could put 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 apples in here. You put it on the ground in front of your hearth, and it slowly roasts the apples. The most delicious fall treat and winter treat is hot apples. We got apple pie to eat later, by the way. You're using a butter knife to cut.
That's all I got here.
I'll help you out. I'll get you a proper knife.
That's okay. I got it. I managed.
So those are our current reflector ovens. There's probably more types and styles out there that I just not aware of yet. But I finally have the main reflector oven. We cooked chicken in it today, but you can cook beef in it. You can put
You want to grab it one more time?
a shoulder of pork in it. Oh yeah. And while I do that, maybe I'll get you a real man's knife.
I got it. I managed here.
I haven't cleaned it yet.
Yeah, it just got used 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's why our food is still hot. So this is what I was talking about, if you haven't seen the video.
Now the spit's not in, but there's a spit with a crank handle on the side.
It has a spout on the end so you can pour the drippings out.
Oh yeah, that's
easily.
real nifty.
I love that.
And then the trap door back here.
Do not touch that! It's all dirty.
Hello.
Love it. It's really not that heavy. I mean, it's maybe 5 pounds. It is 10 after all. Okay, I'm gonna stop blinding you guys. Put this down and get back to what's important. Food.
Now you're missing out. This is so delicious.
I know I'm missing out. I know. I'm rushing back to it.
Now,
What?
the reflector oven is very important for making this dish. So, if you're at home, you want to make something like this. I'm trying to think, how can you manipulate your oven with a piece of foil? Or maybe you start a fire in your burn pit or in your barbecue grill. Make sure it's clean fire, not like junk, but use good wood.
Okay, that's probably the closest you can get. Because the smoke flavor.
Yeah, the smoke is important. Get the chicken up off the flame. You just want it to be next to it, not touching it. And then maybe make a canopy, if you will, of tin foil to reflect it, and then come out and turn your chicken every now and then on the thingy, and that's the best.
Maybe. We've never tried this, so I don't know.
It might work, might not. If not, just put it in the oven and then just keep basting it until it gets nice and crunchy.
Yeah. You know, there's this hilarious historical myth. There's so many of these weird myths. And we've made a couple of videos about it on Early American. But I haven't tackled this myth yet. Have you heard this one? That people in the 18th century, and I'm assuming also the 19th century, used to put spices to cut on rotting meat to cover up the flavor.
Never heard that.
Okay, well, I've heard that many times. That is yet another bizarre historical myth because people did not willingly eat rotting meat. You know, it is a European and American, to an extent, practice to age cuts of meat. It helps it to last longer. There's a rind that gets on it. It changes the flavor, but it's not rotten, technically.
No.
And if you could have afforded spices, you could have afforded meat, so it doesn't make any sense. But where I'm getting with that is we put so many spices on our modern day food that if you look at something like this, you might say that is so bland. Because it doesn't have garlic, it doesn't have paprika, it doesn't have onion powder, it doesn't have Zatarain season, slap your mama, you know, that kind of stuff. But the reality of it is food back then was the ingredients and how they cooked it is what makes it taste so good. The ingredients are just so fresh. So maybe nowadays we actually use spices to cover up the fact that your Tyson brand factory farm raised chicken does not taste good on its own.
That's a good theory.
Yeah. But yeah, the way that you cook the food makes a huge difference in flavor.
Absolutely. I mean, if you put the chicken in the microwave, it's going to come out like rubber. If you put it in the oven, it's going to turn out nice.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you put Slap Your Mama seasoning on the chicken before you microwave it. It's still going to taste like trash. You know? And even if you take a backyard homestead raised chicken and you literally just put salt on it and then roast it in front of a fire slowly for 2 hours, that might be the best chicken you've ever had in your life.
This is the best chicken I ever had in my life.
Thank you, Ron.
It roasted in front of the fire, and some of the smoke come off it. We were just burning oak wood, so nothing crazy. It wasn't cherry or walnut or whatever people would use. But
I don't judge anymore when I see these old receipts that are very, very simple. With meat, it just says roast for 2 hours with salt and pepper.
Well, also back to the spices and stuff. they had a different taste palette back then than what we got today. I mean, I wouldn't want nutmeg and clove stuffed in my roast beef, with rose water on top of it or something crazy like that. And I've mentioned it before. My theory is they like such flavorful food, even if it's not flavors that I agree with. It's maybe because they had not good taste buds. Maybe
it was new.
Maybe
that's why.
It was new, but also you ain't got modern toothpaste. You do have tooth powders to clean your teeth, but
what theory is this?
But if your teeth are rotting in your mouth, you're gonna smell it. You're not gonna get a good flavor. I don't know. I just think maybe they jazz it up a little bit so that there's some nice flavors going on in your mouth.
Okay.
But that's a long shot.
Okay.
Where's my pie at? You took my pie plate away.
What, are you done?
Yeah.
Like you're done with your chicky?
You gonna eat that too?
I'm still eating.
Okay.
But are you done? Cause I'll give it to you.
I can eat a wing, then I'll take some pie, I guess.
Thank you. Save a wing for me too, please. I'm a dark meat person.
I like both.
Okay.
Get off there. It's definitely tender because all the bones just want to pull right out.
Whoa!
There it is. Look at it.
Yep, there's the evidence right there. Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. I have been very interested in a new hobby lately, as Ron is aware. If you have been watching these Chew Chats for a while, you have probably seen in the past where I have moaned and groaned about how I can't sew to save my life. And it's my greatest insecurity is the fact that I can't sew anything.
You can't say it no more.
Thank you. Well, for the last 2 weeks, some weird light bulb has gone off in my head. And it all started when I bought a pin cushion. I finally own a pin cushion, the most simple thing. It cost me $2. And it's just made my life so much easier with like not losing needles and whatever. And I've started sewing. Obsessively sewing. I've been sewing every single day for at least 3 hours. We go on road trips. I'm sewing in the car. I don't miss a single day of it. And so in the last 2 weeks, I've made 2 aprons, one of which is a gift, so I can't show it. I'm almost done with that baby blanket. I've made 2 bags. Well, I guess I gotta get up again.
I would hand them to you, but I literally just destroyed my hands with grease.
Oh. Okay.
Could I trouble you for that towel over there, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
One moment.
I'm a messy guy. It's so delicious.
I don't like eating food with my hands because then it gets all greasy.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I can show you a few of the things I made. I made this wig bag for Ron. It has his wig in it. His 18th century reenacting wig, drawstring bag. And then I had some leftover fabric. So I made this little reticule, which is like an early 1800s style purse handbag. Downtown. Yeah. I had the leftover fabric, so I figured why not.
I like that material.
Thank you.
And my bag smells like lavender because she got me some really nice lavender powder for the wig.
Yes, some hair powder.
It's customary for a gentleman to wear his hair really nice in the 18th century and early 19th century, so that's why I have one.
And then here's the quilt I'm working on. It's definitely not done, but I've never made anything like this in my life.
You cut all these out and sewed all these.
I made this entire thing with scrap fabric. It cost me nothing except the batting.
In time.
It has cotton batting in it, so I had to buy it. It's a completely hand stitch. I've also realized that I absolutely hate sewing machines. And since I realized that it was the sewing machine and not me, that's also kind of encouraging me to sew more.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. And I never even Googled how to make a quilt. I literally just started making a quilt for little Ronnie.
Little Ronnie.
Yeah.
Little Ronnie is 23 weeks old now?
Yes, he's 23 weeks old.
Technically.
He is, which means I am 6 months pregnant now.
Time is a ticking.
My bump is really showing.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's also a potato and some chicky in there.
Yeah. In modern clothes, it's a lot more evident.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas historical clothes, it really hides it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even tell.
Yeah, he's coming quick. Unfortunately, we haven't had any time to work on the house because we've been taking refuge because it's been on 0 degrees. So we hope you all fared well during the Arctic blast, is what I'm calling it.
Right, horrible.
It was so cold here. It was crazy. Couldn't go outside.
Sorry, this is my sewing box, by the way. Your dad gave this to me 2 years ago. I think it's like a Norwegian style.
I'm not sure.
Viking style. It's very old style.
I just call it a walnut box.
Right.
With a lid that snaps on.
So another thing I've been working on is I sewed a bunch of these squares out of scrap fabric. So 4 triangles per each one. I have a lot of them.
She did that while we were driving.
Yeah, I did that while we were driving. And I'm going to sew all of them together and make a drawstring bag out of them because I love the look of quilted, whimsy looking random fabric patchwork is the word. Patchwork, pockets and quilts and things like that. So I'm going to make a drawstring bag out of it. But yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah. And speaking of the drive, while you were doing that, we went up to Chicago to get some chairs for our table.
Yes.
We finally found some chairs after like 6 months of looking for chairs for our 1790s Hepplewhite table. So it's been very difficult to find a set of 8 at minimum for as large of a table as ours is. So on the drive up there, that's what she did. And if you're looking for antiques, do not go to Illinois. There's no antiques in Illinois.
No.
There's 2 states on our list so far that have no antiques.
No antique balls.
Indiana and Illinois.
Like, we drove past 30 million of them, but we would look in them, and it was all 1980s.
It's all, stuff that's not even older than 1950.
Yeah, right, but they call
it's stuff
themselves
that's as old
antique.
as me. It's a glorified thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the word antique in the title. It wastes people's time is what it does.
If it's from the same century I was born in, that just is an insult to call it an antique.
Right.
It's personal.
Also, speaking of some things that recently happened, we finally got our results back from the Ancestry test that we did at Christmas that Justine got us, and the results are pretty cool, I think.
What are we?
What are we?
Are we even human?
I think that's an 80s new wave song. Anyways, You want me to do yours first, or you want me to do mine?
Do yours.
Okay, so it's Ronald. There's a little pie graph. I am 99.3% Northwestern European. 81.5% of that is British and Irish.
Whoa.
15.9% of that is French and German. And then there's a 1.1% that I am Finnish.
Finnish?
Finnish.
From Finland?
Yes. Now, for you are 50.4% of Northern West Asian.
Mm-hmm.
You are 50.2% Iranian, Caucasian, and Mesopotamian.
Mm-hmm.
And you are 0.2 Arab, Egyptian, and Levantine. Levantine?
Maybe.
And you're also 0.2 of Peninsular Arab.
Peninsular Arab.
And for the European portion of you, you are 49.6%.
43%.
Oh yeah, sorry, 43% Northwestern European, which is German and French. And then you're 4.2% of Eastern European. You're all over the place. And then Southern European, you're 2.1 from Greek. Wow.
The results did not surprise me at all.
You're a whole conglomerate buffet.
Yeah. So, but it's pretty 50-50. I'm half Assyrian and half German, French.
That's what. That's it.
My mom had one of these done. It was from a different company. I don't remember, but like a year ago. And the results came back 100% Iraq-Syrian region, which is crazy to be 100% of something. But she's an Assyrian, which is an old group of people. They're mentioned in the Old Testament. They conquered Egypt at one point, to give you an idea how many thousands of years we're going back. They speak Aramaic, the language of Jesus. My mom still speaks it. It's her first language.
It's pretty cool.
And so the Assyrians are very tribal people, as are a lot of ethnic groups in the Middle East, and they do not believe in marriage outside of their group. At least that's how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
If the year was 1850 and you married someone who wasn't Assyrian, you could get in a lot of trouble.
So they wouldn't like our marriage then?
In the year 1850, yeah. I would have already been a weird mutt anyway, because I'm half Assyrian. But yeah, so my mom... I'm a half-breed. And so my mom is pure Assyrian, 100%. And my dad is, he's an American citizen, but he's ethnically German for the most part. Which is why my maiden name is Dorn, D-O-R-N, which literally means thorn in German, like a thorn bush.
Thorn in the rear.
What the heck? But yeah, so I'm half... Assyrians are a Christian minority group, by the way, in the Middle East. Heavily persecuted by ISIS and the Ottoman Empire. There was an Assyrian genocide along with an Armenian genocide in the early 20th century. So we're a Christian minority group.
There's also some more stats. So here, I'll give you guys one more. Justine is... more caveman, or what's the word?
Neanderthal?
She has more Neanderthal in her than 66% of the population. But Ron is 94% more caveman than the rest of the population.
Get out! What? You are 94% more Neanderthal than the general population?
Explains a lot.
Like what? Like eating meat all the time?
Yeah.
And banging your fists on things?
They got a lot of things right. There was some things that said you're 60% likely to have blue eyes. You're 80% likely to be allergic to poison ivy. And a lot of them they had right. Except for the sense of direction one. It said like 80% chance that I would not have a good sense of direction. Well, I have a good sense of direction.
I've never met anyone in my life who's has the freakishly good memory.
I'm a good navigator.
As this guy does. Like we will be driving for 2 hours without GPS, and I'm like, Ron, have you been here before? And you'll say, yeah, I was here one time 5 years ago. How do you remember every single turn like that?
I don't have a photographic memory, but I do think I have nets to that.
Yeah.
To a photographic memory, because if somebody's in the room and somebody's asking about it 10 years later, like, yeah, Jim Bob was there, Sally Joe was there, whoever, they were wearing red, and one guy was eating an ice cream.
If Lewis and Clark had you on the trip with them, they would have made it there 6 months earlier.
Maybe.
You're amazing.
They would have made it back home 6 months later because I would have been really hungry because they were out of food on the way back.
Oh, yeah. True story. So that's our ethnicity results. And for, the thing is that for a while I didn't want to do it, and he didn't want to do it either. I don't want to give my DNA to these companies, right? And just in case one day down the road I wake up one day and decide I'm going to commit a murder.
Oh boy.
The government's going to have my blood, and it's going to be at the crime scene. I mean, you got to think about these things.
Well, don't do it because they're going to come bother me now because I'm linked to you.
You have to be a long-term thinker. But then I did some digging into this, and I realized that even if you don't take this test, if you just have one person in your family, and it could be your extended family, excuse me, it could be your great aunt. If her blood is on file, she's like I'm just guessing, a 98% match to you. If you still have a crime scene blood at the thing, they'll still figure out it's you. Yeah. Because the DNA matches with your great aunt, even if she lives out in California and you live in Missouri. It's crazy how that works. So heck, you might as well just do it. We're all screwed. Sorry to say that, but they have.
Well, don't kill anybody. Don't do that. But do the test.
I'll try.
No, I'm telling them. I'm telling them do the test. Don't kill anybody.
Oh, okay, yeah. Don't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just decided, okay, whatever, you know, because my grandma's done it, my mom's done it. They have our DNA on file then. Let's do it.
I mean, you already knew what you were pretty much. Yours was pretty easy.
Yeah, now I just have to get better at hiding my tracks.
Oh boy.
But something that was really cool was Ron mapped out every single one of his ancestors.
Yeah.
We have a common ancestor.
We do, like 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years ago, one dude, a Scottish guy, a Scottish king. I don't remember exactly, but like Ron said, 1,000 years ago, we're both related directly to this Scottish king. Is this incest?
No.
No.
This doesn't count. You're my
this doesn't
1
count.
millionth cousin. Doesn't count.
1,000 years ago, one ancestor.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I got lucky, and I didn't even branch off into the cousins or anything like that. I just went straight back and to just do the grandparents, the grandmas, and the grandpas. And I don't know. I'm over like 20 with people who served in the American Revolution. So
that's cool.
I'm gathering that to present that to the SAR before the end of this year, hopefully.
Sons of the American Revolution.
Yes. And I just kept going back and back and back and found the same king guy from, I forget his name at the moment, but he was a king of Scotland or something.
In the year of our Lord, 1,103, something like that.
And through the other grandparent the other way, I go all the way back. I hit a little bit of the Tudors. I hit King Henry's family.
King Henry the Seventh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not the cool one.
Yeah, but it goes all the way back to King Richard directly too. So maybe that's why our middle name's is Richard, or it's just a coincidence because I doubt my grandparents knew that in the 1960s when they were naming my dad and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But it's kind of cool though.
It is really cool.
But that's also 1,000 years ago, so my claim to any of it does not exist.
Pity.
It would be cool to have a castle though.
That's the only reason I married you. Okay. Okay, so those are our ancestry results. It's Ron is primarily British through and through.
I'm gonna have to get myself a red coat, I guess.
No.
I haven't found a family member yet that was on the British side. They've all been in militias or in the Continental Army so far. So we'll see. And they all kind of came from the same area. Same with your dad's side, at least back then. It was all kind of Virginia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania area. There's been a few that have been up top, and they might even been part of Plymouth. I'm not 100% certain on that yet, but the rest are all just kind of in that little area there.
Right. Okay, what's next on the list, Tom?
Next on the list is our weird history and our cool history.
Okay.
So, this week's weird history fact. Are you guys ready for the weird history fact?
You will be after this drum roll. This week's weirdest history fact. Go.
Okay. Did you guys know that they had bicycles back in our time? But did you guys know that you could not steer the bicycles?
Well, that's useless.
And you could not pedal the bicycles either.
What the heck is it then?
It really shouldn't be called a bicycle then.
Is it a stick?
It's a stick with two wheels, yes, with a seat on it. They've been around since the 1700s, but you sit on them. They're made of wood, and they have two wheels. And you just point it in the direction you want to go, and you stride. If you're familiar with the striding bicycles that they have for young kids these days that don't have pedals on them, you use your feet to propel yourself. So you stride along with it. So you're riding on this board with two wheels on it. You can't turn it, so you got to have it point in the direction that you want to go, or you can kind of lean and that'll somewhat turn you. But
you
pedals,
can't go uphill then?
No, you can't go uphill. You can go downhill. Going uphill would suck.
Yeah, it would be horrible.
Yeah. So they did have them, as you can see in these pictures. There's people with tricorn hats on, and there's people with top hats on, all in the early 1800s and late 1700s. Now they finally, in the early 1800s, they come up with how to steer it. So you're able to steer it fine, but there's still no pedals. So you can't, you still have to use your feet to push it. So either on the flat ground or going downhill. There's your only two options to ride this thing. But in the 1850s, they finally invent the petals. I just seen some chicken go flying somewhere.
Better be in my mouth.
And then in the 1870s comes the chain that we know that's on bikes today, the drive chain. But in the 1850s, they just put pedals directly on the wheel, and they had the big old wheel in the front.
Oh.
It looked so goofy. I don't even know how you got up on those things.
I don't know how you would either.
I know, and the back wheel's like this small, but the seat is way up here. It's like a giant unicycle with a little training wheel in the back. It's goofy.
It's very sketchy looking.
Yeah, but
like if you fall, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, you would just fall over it. So you'd have to almost keep moving the whole time.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. We stumbled upon this. It's like, I didn't know they had bicycles in the 1700s.
Not only that, but they were very popular.
Mostly in like city areas.
Right.
You're not gonna find them in the frontier, because you can't pedal them or anything. So you gotta have a good smooth surface. I could see somebody like tying a rope behind a horse, having them pull you, but that might be a bad idea because you can't steer the thing. I did read that they did have brakes, so they had some kind of brake on them.
Oh, really?
But there was also outlawed in certain cities too because people were having accidents with them. I guess because the brakes weren't very good.
Oh my.
So they were outlawed for a little bit, or you'd get a ticket at least for having one in the city.
That is cool to know.
So,
because we associate like early bicycles with just being Victorian men in top hats with mustaches.
Which are the ones with the big wheel in the front and you sit up on top and...
But they go back way farther than that.
Yes. So, pretty weird, pretty cool at the same time.
That's a good one, Ron.
Thank you.
And I do apologize for my horrible eating. It's because I don't like eating with my fingers. So here I am, just stabbing a chicken wing like this.
Well, you are, what was it, 66% more caveman than the rest of the population.
Yes.
I'm 94, that's why I ate with my fingers.
Right. I'm still within the lady zone.
Well, speaking of history, I'm going to bring up something because it is the 250th year anniversary for the Battle of Lexington and Concord on April 19th in 1775 is whenever the shot heard around the world happened, and it officially kicked off the American Revolution. This is important because this is the 250th year. The events are starting to happen, and they're going to go through till I think like 2033 because the war ended in 1783. So that's the first one that's coming up this April up there in Massachusetts. I believe they call it the Minuteman Park or something like that. Today is what the modern name for it. It's a really big ordeal. So if you're looking for something cool, patriotic to do that involves history, there's no better event to go to than to go to that event.
I wish we could go, hon.
I wish we could too, but
maybe
with little Ronnie, it's difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
We would just have to fly because we don't got time to drive that far either.
Oh, I don't want to fly with a newborn baby.
I don't either, in case we crash and he doesn't get to live either.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Well, all the airplane accidents lately, I'm thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
There's actually chicken in your hair. Hold on. That's where the chicken...
Huh?
Okay. Wait.
What?
There was a little piece of chicken in your hair. Whenever you were fiddle-diddling with it a while ago, it went... Anyways.
You know, okay, I'm a very clumsy person apparently, and I just looked down at my hand and I got burned today.
You finally got burned.
I got burned while cooking the apple pie, and I can only name maybe on one hand the number of times I've been burned doing historic cooking. Nothing crazy, you know, just like a little half penny-sized circle burn here and there on my arm, whatever.
It is hard to reach down in that Dutch oven and get that out.
We need a bigger one.
Need more money.
Yeah,
they're expensive.
We need this, we need that. But you can see the exact moment where I get burned in this clip here. That's why I jerk my hand a little bit because, youch, my knuckle is now neon red and it's starting to, a little blister maybe might come later.
Dang.
Yeah, so it kind of hurts a bit. You put burn gel on it.
Yeah, do you need some more?
No, not at the moment. I'm okay. But it's very rare when it happens, but that Dutch oven is way too small.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Okay.
But back to the traveling thing.
Oh?
We'll see. That's in a month and a half. It's almost March.
Oh.
March, April. Okay, so month and a half away.
You know, it might not be possible.
It's probably not. I really do wish we could go, but I do know that they have a big event every year.
Yeah.
But obviously the 250th is great too. But
yeah, I don't think it's possible. I don't really want to travel that pregnant.
right. And
right.
yeah, because the seats are already tight on the plane.
Yeah, it will not.
I'll have to get you a
be
first class
fun.
ticket, and I'll sit back in the coach.
That's my entire life savings. I think we'll just stay home. Now, speaking of transportation, both of our weird facts this week are about transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Yours was about that they had bicycles already in the early 1800s, and mine is about trains. Trains. Okay, let me get one more bite of this chickie, and then I need your drum roll.
Okay.
For this week's coolest history fact.
And I need some pie, please.
Okay.
Ooh. There's been so many planes today. You guys hear that?
Yours are already half eaten.
Is that my pie or your pie?
That's yours. That's yours,
I'll
really?
take your word for it.
Okay.
All right.
Give me a drum roll.
Are you guys ready for this week's coolest history fact? Here we go. So cool.
So cool.
All right.
Now, when I picture trains in the 1800s, I'm thinking Victorian people.
Me too. Those are my favorite kind.
Right.
The choo-choos.
Yes, and I'm also picturing the Wild Wild West. And, it's the year 1880 and the gold rush and all that. And
Cowboys and Indians.
But have you ever stopped and thought, when did trains actually become a thing? Did it just start maybe around 1870 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Or like the movies? Or were there trains before that? It turns out that the early 1800s was when trains were invented.
Yes.
Okay, place your bets, guys. Do not go to Google and cheat, because what is the point of that? When was the first train locomotive made? Place your bets. 1804.
If you answered 1804, you are correct. Congratulations, you win nothing but bragging rights. Pat yourself on the back.
Over 220 years ago, my friend, they had steam locomotives. The first train was a steam locomotive made in Wales in 1804. That's in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It uses a high-pressure steam to power its engine.
Hence the name, steam locomotive.
Yeah. It was built to transport heavy iron. And that is how trains kind of started out, as a commercial experiment to see, because, transporting heavy things like granite, marble, steel, and iron with horses and oxen.
Cannons.
The cannons, which were made out of iron. It's hard on these poor animals. So they're trying to figure out an easier way and a way to make more money, because then they can transport double the amount. That is how trains started. They did not start as transporting people yet.
Right. Even in the mid 18th century in France, there was that steam engine wagon thing that they used to transport cannons in France during the French Revolution.
Whoa.
Steam engines have been around for a while, but how to use it in the right way didn't really come about until the early 1800s, when they started putting it on rails and transporting things.
Speaking of rails, okay, so the first railway in the United States was the Granite Railway in Massachusetts. It was built in 1826. So it took 20-something years before it really started to catch on, this whole rail thing. And now in the United States we have the first railway, but we didn't have a train yet. We did not have a train yet. That would come a couple years later. But back to this Granite Railway, it was built to carry granite from Quincy, Massachusetts to a nearby dock that was 3 miles away, so that they could transport the granite by a river.
So if there's no train, I guess they just
it's
use
a
the
railway.
Cars. So they use the cars.
Yes. It used horses to pull wagons that were carrying giant granite blocks along a wooden rail that was plated with iron. And it was very advanced for its time, considering like what we have now. Because it had switches. So you could change the route.
Right.
And it also had a turntable, so you could turn around.
Interesting.
The entire horse carriage, if you will, could turn around. Otherwise, how would you turn around? But it made the route much more easier on these poor horses. Because as you can see from this picture, it is not a flat route by any means. There's a lot of hills involved. It's 3 miles. So now this company is like tripling its profits because the horses can go a lot faster.
Right.
So that was in 1826. Now let's jump to 1829.
Okay.
On December 22nd, 1829, the first passenger railroad in the United States opened. This was the first railroad locomotive built in the United States. The train was called Tom Thumb, and it was in operation in Baltimore. It traveled 13 miles, and that 13-mile trip took just under 1 hour. It took 57 minutes to accomplish 13 miles. You do the math, miles per hour, what that is, okay? Now, by 1834, though...
13 miles per hour.
So it opened in 1829. By 1834, the railroad line had exploded because it was so popular. It expanded to what is now West Virginia, all the way to Harper's Ferry. So from Baltimore to Harper's Ferry. So it caught on fast. But this is the 1820s. We're not talking about, like in the movies, they always show the 1880s and all that.
Yeah, the West. Cowboys.
Right, cowboys and all that. It actually didn't start out there in the West. It started more on the East Coast in the early 1800s.
That's pretty cool. I never knew that, and I've watched hundreds of Westerns in my lifetime.
Right. Okay, speaking of cool things, I just have one to really throw at you. The first electric train, the first electric locomotive. Now, when was that built? Place your bets.
1890?
Boy, it was built 1837!
1837?
1837!
Wow.
By the Scottish chemist Robert Davidson. It was powered with batteries. Galvanic cell batteries.
Now, I do think Ben Franklin invented some form of battery in the mid-18th century. So batteries are not necessarily new technology, but I'm sure it's refined enough, or they've souped it up to power a train, which is really cool.
That's insane. This is the 1830s, and nowadays electrified subways with the electrified rail, we still have that concept.
Right, but there's no battery.
But there's no battery. Yeah, it has to be constantly fed. It didn't really take off right away, probably because of that. There's no way to keep it going long distances.
Oh, cool though.
Now, you might have noticed this already. I'll bring it up. Okay, going back to this Tom Thumb train from the 1820s, the United States. Look at the carriage cars. This was brand new technology to these people. Because of that, for thousands of years, they'd only known horse carriages.
It looks like a stagecoach.
It looks like a stagecoach. It looks like something that would be pulled by horses, but they put it in a line on a rail, and it's being pulled by a train. It looks so bizarre.
Well, even cars, the very early cars of the late 1800s and early 1900s, they looked like carriages.
Because it's what they knew.
It carries over. Why not?
Yeah, it's what they knew. So they were going to start out with the familiar, especially, wanting to gain people's trust with it. And when it came to these seats, you could sit inside or you could sit on top of it like a stagecoach. Now, another one that's just worth mentioning because they have a reproduction of it in a museum today, and it has the coolest looking stagecoach looking cars, is the DeWitt Clinton. It was the first steam locomotive in the state of New York. It was built in 1831, and it began operations that very same year. It's named the DeWitt Clinton because that was the governor of New York. It ran for 17 miles, so the railroad was 17 miles long. And its passenger cars were made of stagecoach bodies. And like I said, you could sit either inside or on top like a stagecoach, because it's what they knew. Now, it was opened in 1831, but it was scrapped in 1833.
I guess because the technology was changing so fast. When you look at this thing, it doesn't look like the choo-choos that we know from 30 years ahead of this. It just looks like a tanker, some kind of tank with a seat on the back and then a stack out the front. So It's very primitive, so I guess they were just changing and evolving so much that they're
It
like,
was.
get rid of it. We got something newer and better. But there is a really cool train museum. The National Museum of Transportation, I believe it's called. That's in St. Louis County. We went there. They've got like 100, literally like 100 trains there. It's crazy.
It's cool if you're into that.
Yeah, if you're into trains, definitely check that out. They got the old stuff from the 1800s, and they've got stuff from the 1900s, and I think that's pretty much it. But
could you hand me my reticule that I made?
yes.
Ridicule.
Oh, I'm so full. But I want more pie because that was delicious. I think
glad,
I'll go in for another piece, actually.
I'm glad you liked a pie.
Excuse me.
So in my bag here, I have a book. I have an original OG book that I've been wanting for a long time. Kind of like that reflector oven. This is called Scenes of Commerce, Land and Sea. This is an original book from the 1820s. I do not have an exact date for it, unfortunately. I could not find the date anywhere. But I know it's from the 1820s because
The way they're dressed.
the auction said it was 1820s. I won it from some fancy pants auction house, not eBay, you know. And the way that people are dressed in here, it looks like the 1820s. But anyway, there's a reference to trains even in this book.
That's cool. What if it has a picture or illustration?
Well, okay, maybe not to trains. It has a mention of railroads.
Okay.
And it does have a picture of one. It's that top one where it's being pulled by a horse.
Oh, wow.
Like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Where the railway, the granite railway.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's being pulled by horses, but it's on a rail. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read what it says. But of late, the invention of railroads seems most to obtain where they are practical. Iron grooves are sunk in wooden frames on the ground, and the wagons are furnished with iron wheels, which run in these grooves with very little friction.
That's neat.
That's crazy. And so this book is just about how they managed to do things in the 1820s. It's actually a book for kids.
Huh.
But nowadays it would be a book for really smart people because that's how much we've dumbed down as a society, sorry. Yeah. But it tells you where everything comes from. So it's spoken through the perspective of a little girl who's asking her dad, where does that come from? Where does that come from? If you ever had kids, you know they ask 1,000,001 questions.
Why?
Like, why? Why?
What's that?
How did we get the chicken?
Why?
How do we get the table?
Why?
What is this made of and how do we get it? So the book talks about how we get fish, how we get cotton, how we get pineapples, how we get spoons and forks and clothes and coal and wood and everything to England. Yes, it's called Scenes of Commerce, Land and Sea. It also mentions transportation that they had at the time. And yeah, it's illustrated every once in a while. There's illustrations. But it's really, really, really a cool book. And I've been wanting it for a while, and I lost it at auction for a while, but then it came back up, and
it's in excellent condition.
It is in very, very good condition. It talks about how they got pineapples. Oh, I just opened up the chapter about coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're talking about Turkey. It grows in Turkey. I am sure Turkey coffee is the best. No, it comes from Moko? Nay, Papua. I guess Papua New Guinea. But we have it also from the West Indies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then it goes to talk about the flower of the coffee tree forms a cluster at the root of the leaves. It's white and very fragrant and has a funnel shape. The fruit looks like a cherry, but it's oval. When ripe, it is of a deep red, and you get it from shaking the tree. So yeah, sugar is the other chapter. So it's just explaining like where
That's
everything was, and it's a very, very educational as a modern day reenactor who does early 1800s, because you can look at this and say, even though this is England, you know, it gives you a general idea of this is how they got sugar, this is how they got tea, this is how they got cotton, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it mentions railroads.
At that time, if you're a civilized nation, you're going to get what other civilized nations have, most likely.
Yeah, so the United States, it was probably fairly similar.
Yeah.
You know, how they got coffee and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let me put this back in my little baggie.
I like those pads.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm officially stuffed. I can't eat no more.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the chicken is still there.
I can't. I ate half of it.
You know, we are workaholics. After this, we are going out to the property to work on the barn.
We actually need to just get it.
We just need to go.
We're probably going to leave this mess and worry about it later, to be honest with you. Because, well, we've got the wood on the truck. We picked it up yesterday. It's for the siding of the barn. I cannot wait to cover up them dang old posts of that barn so we can finally see wood on the barn. So, yeah, we just need to go. I forgot all about that till you mentioned it, so I'm glad I really stuffed my gut.
Right. Don't get too comfortable because we
exactly.
gotta work.
But yeah, we got like, I don't know, 4 hours of daylight left, so let's go do that.
Okay, and before anyone says, like, how in the world are you doing that, Justine? You're 6 months pregnant. I honestly don't feel pregnant.
There's nothing wrong with swinging a hammer.
Oh, no. It's actually healthy. They say it's very healthy for pregnant women to be physically active.
Yeah, look at some of these modern women that, like,
Go
still
to
do.
gym.
They do CrossFit training while they're, like, 9 months pregnant, and it's like,
Whoa.
how? But
really, I don't even feel pregnant.
how did women make it back then whenever they had to do a lot more labor than just swinging a hammer?
The only time, like, every once in a while I get reminded of it. Like, when I go to tie my shoes, I can't bend over because it feels like there's a basketball tied to my waist and I cannot physically bend over a certain way.
I mean, you should not be picking up heavy things or going up ladders.
I do not do those two things.
But if we've been nailing wood down on the floor for flooring,
just
square head
walking
nails.
a lot.
So there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah, just, walking a lot and helping Ron with stuff and lifting 20 pounds and that's it, I feel good. I don't feel pregnant. I feel totally normal. Like, occasionally my sciatic nerve acts up, unfortunately. It runs in my family, and a lot of pregnant women have this issue where you get sciatic nerve pain.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, sometimes I'm limping because the sciatic nerve pain has been really bad lately. But other than that, I feel so normal. It's like,
that's good.
I can't believe I have a baby that's already this big inside of me.
Yeah, those 23 weeks, you're about 11 and a half
11
inches.
and a half inches long.
So he's...
Something like this.
Yeah, he'd fit in this bowl.
Yeah, he would. And technically...
He was the size of a chicken.
So at 23 weeks, technically with modern technology, I think it's a 60% chance of survival outside of the womb if someone was to, God forbid, give birth at 23 weeks.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to do, of course. That's bad. Pregnancy is 40 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy how fast human life grows.
Yes.
So we're going to go work on the barn now.
Because time is just flying by. And like I said, we didn't get any work done last week because it was the Arctic blast. Once 0 degrees, you can't do nothing.
No.
So, we need to make up for some lost time. The snow is melting. It's sloppy out there, but it's 50, 60 degrees. So I'm not complaining, but it is very muddy.
Let's go.
All right, we're taking this with us.
I'll take it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you guys.
We love you guys. Take care. See you next time.
Bye-bye.